I was always interested in stage, and my mom was into singing, but obviously not like professionally. But yeah, she used to sing. But then, so I think my artistic perspective comes from her. So, but what happened was when I started stand up in 2012. Obviously, I was working, so there was no issue. As with Indian parents, the problem is that if you are working, if you're earning monthly a fixed amount of income, they are fine with it, no matter what you do.
No rain. Well, folks, welcome to the Naren Agarwal show. Today, I am already laughing and giggling because our guest is somebody who makes everybody laugh and giggle. He calls himself an almost full-time comedian, but he really is a stand-up artist. He's also a writer who writes sketches. Somebody I'm interested to dig deep into their mind. Welcoming Mr. Shimit Mathur from Gurgaon, India. Shimit Bhaiya, welcome.
Hi, hi, Naren. Thank you so much for calling me for this podcast.
I am so
And
happy to have you.
no worries, buddy. How's it going?
Oh, Shimit bro, it's going well. It's
Yeah.
really awesome that we are really contrasting. You know, I got the whites on, you got the black on. Let's make a chessboard of a conversation and make it interesting.
The reason I'm wearing black is because it's easier to wash.
Yeah.
And comedians are lazy. They don't like to work for more than 5 minutes. It's just that we don't work for more. We procrastinate for 23 hours. That's all. Yeah.
Makes me think we're lucky. We're lucky as Indians to have black hair, right? Easy to wash. We can just go for days
Yeah.
without, especially when you're young. When you're old, it turns white. So doesn't.
True. True.
Uh, Let me get straight into it. Shimit bro, what got you into comedy? Like, I guess when you were growing up, stand-up comedy was not really seen as a full-time career or something that nobody thinks of usually.
Yeah. Yeah.
What got you into comedy and what made you decide to become a stand-up comedian? I'm sure everybody asks you that.
Yeah. Most of the people do, but when I answer, they don't understand. So
Okay.
I'm going to answer. There are two answers to it. So this, like, generally people choose their passion. Like, like, for example, your passion is to do these podcasts and things like that, and there are people who choose photography as a passion. Uh, but with me, this thing happened was that this passion chose me, and it was just in a day. And that's the honest answer. But if I give you, if I explain you more about it, okay, how it happened since the beginning. So if you remember, laughter challenge used to come, right?
There was a big
On Yeah. So I was into stand up. Like, I used to listen stand up comedy even before laughter challenge. So you might be knowing Raju Srivastava. You might have seen him when
yeah,
he went
correct.
on television. So Raju Srivastava and Johnny Lever, I used to have their tapes, audio tapes. My dad used to get them.
Wow.
And do you know there is this poet called Surinder Sharma?
Oh yeah, he's from actually the village, my ancestral village. I love him. I love him. He's so
Right, right. So my dad used to get those tapes for, like, generally to listen,
correct.
and I used to listen to them. I used to love them, like what stories they tell and jokes they tell, and I used to read jokes and everything. But that was not the point. But then I started watching Laughter Challenge and all these stand-up comedy shows. But till, like, even after watching them, there was no idea that I should go on stage and perform. I was enjoying their jokes. That's all. But
Correct.
what happened was I used to love stage. So I was a dancer in my school time. Yeah, in my school time and my college and my masters.
So
So I was a
you're
brilliant
an entertainer of a sort.
kind of. I used to host events in my college and all. So I used to love stage. I used to like to be the center of attraction, you can say. And then eventually after my MBA, I started working. So 2 years I worked, and then 2012, not 2000, like, it was end of 2011 and beginning of 2012, roughly around that. Now what happens is that there are two things in life generally which I've observed. One, will you will enjoy to see, to watch. Like, I enjoyed watching stand up. but I never got inspired to do the same. All right. But then there will be something which inspires you to do. Right. So there is a comedian. He's a legendary comedian, Eddie Izzard from UK. He's a British comedian. So I watched him on YouTube. He's changing voice in every 10 seconds and doing things like that. And I was like, this is what I want to do.
Wow.
So that was the moment where I decided that okay, fine, I'm going to give it a try. And
Wow.
then by mid of 2012, stand-up scene really picked up after 2010. There were open mics happening in pubs and bars and clubs a lot. So it was in Gurgaon. There was a cafe, Mind Cafe. So there is a comedian, Amit Tandon. He's a big shot comedian. I mean, we call him Amit Sir. So he used to run his comedy. He used to produce that comedy show. It was an open mic night, and every comic used to get 5 minutes. All right, every comic. There were roughly 7 comics, and every comic is getting 5 minutes to perform, and original jokes and everything. All right. So I registered for it, and I was like, okay, fine, let's go ahead. Yeah, and then I went to that cafe. I was fucking. It was horrible. Inside, I was very nervous, and I went there, and my turn came. So I went on stage. I did my shit. It was complete silence. Like, like you can hear people breathing. It was so much silent. Like my soul came out of my body and went outside the cafe, and it was like, yeah, you do this thing, and once you're done, then come outside. I'll meet you. That is what exactly happened. But you know what happened was, jokes aside, when I got off the stage after the 5 minute set, I was not feeling embarrassed. I was not feeling guilty, or I was not feeling negative about it. I enjoyed those 5 minutes. So I was like, fine. So that's how it started.
That is awesome.
So in 2016,
yeah.
So in 2016, I left my job and started this full time. So 4 years I did it part time to understand how to do it, and how things work on stage and all. But then in 2016, I finally got the confidence to leave the job, and I was like, fine, this is what I want to do, and let's see how it will go.
So it's amazing. Your story is actually amazing. How like the first time you really failed, and now you have millions of views on YouTube, millions of views.
Yeah, there are.
Here is the question I have for you.
Yeah.
Last year, last phase of your life, before stand-up, 2012 to 16, when you were working in stand-up, and now full-time, how is your life different? Not in terms of external things, but internally, how do you feel? Is there much difference? How does every day go for you? Comparison when you think 4 years ago.
So, stand-up comedy is a very different art form.
Yeah.
Like, for example, if you're a photographer, you have an eye of photography that this is the point, this is the right picture, I'll take a picture and I'll just release it. All right. Why it is different is because you question everything, including your own existence. So it's like for example, if you would have asked me, or if you would have met me before 2017, all right, I would have said that I am a part of this society, this society which we are living in.
Correct.
Where we have political ideologies and capitalism and communism and socialism and crime and everything. I'm a part of this society. But now, if you ask me, I can see the society out of this circle of the society. Like, I'm not a part of this society. So that has changed. I can question. I have rights to question everything.
Wow.
And why I have rights to question everything? Because that's how stand-up, that's how comedy comes in. So comedy, the main component of stand-up are not jokes. Okay. they're not. The main components of stand-up is the truth and the silence after saying that.
Wow. Okay, you're blowing my mind right here. Okay, let's go deep into this. Okay, so stand-up is actually not about jokes. It's about
It's it's about a truth and how you craft that truth, and then you just silent on the stage. There is a silence on the stage. People like, oh, that's a truth, and they start laughing. That's what stand-up is all about. Like if you talk about any comedian, like in India as well, Johnny Lever or Raju Srivastav, if you now look at their jokes, now this I'm saying, I'm not saying that, I didn't like it was a realization since the beginning. But now, when I have started questioning everything, and when I see these people, Johnny Lever and Raju Srivastav's old set, now I realize that every thought, they were just trying to question the society. Like any joke, if you say, like for example, Johnny Lever's famous set is that he mimics the mafia of Mumbai.
yeah, correct.
All right, like there are people sitting, and then he's mimicking the mafia of Mumbai.
Correct.
His question to the society was that the mafias are so open that I am able to mimic them. Why the fuck police is not catching them?
Ah.
So this is how things, like there is a very famous joke of Raju Srivastav when I saw Laughter Challenge. It's about so the premise of the joke was that there is this woman and her child are sitting, and they are praying for this guy. So woman's husband has died, and after a year they do the rituals, right? After a year, there's 1 year ritual. So they're doing the ritual, and just because of the punchline, there is a question of the society that women are not being appreciated. So every joke comes from that part.
That is
And it is just, and it is, yeah, it's not that I just say the truth and wait for you to laugh. It's not like that. There is a craft involved. Obviously, it's an art form, so you need to have a proper craft to say those things, and then people will understand it. People will take it as a joke. People will laugh at it. So now, if you ask me, this has changed. Like prior to that, I was a part of society.
That is a deep answer. That is a deep answer. I've never looked at comedy, stand-up comedy from that perspective. That is amazing. I love that.
Yeah, that's because this industry is new in our country. Like comedy was already there in the movies and all, but if you talk about live shows and all, that's new in our country.
So I want to ask you something. Everybody says stand-up comedy is a very new thing. It's a new industry. It's a new niche.
Yeah.
But historically, I don't know if you know this, but historically, like when we had like the kings and the Maharajas in India, or the Roman Empire or the Egyptian, did they have such stand-up performances, or is this really a 21st century phenomena?
Have you heard about Birbal? Obviously, you might have.
Yes.
Right? Who was he? He was nothing. He was not a king. He was not. He was nothing. Literally, he was the reason why he was close to Akbar was he was always used to show truth to the Akbar. So this is the reality, right? But his stories are very funny. If you read those stories, you will end up laughing on those stories, or you will at least enjoy those stories. So it was already there. It was there since the long time. The concept of Joker, if you know, like those Joker which we see in circus and all, they used to be there since long time. There used to be always one guy closer to the king who can joke about the king and get away with it.
Oh, that reminds me. We read a Shakespeare play in school called As You Like It. And a guy called Touchstone, and he was the.
I've read that play. Yeah.
He was the court jester. He was somebody who joke about the things in society. That is amazing that you bring that inside.
So there is always this guy. So the reason is that you need to have these guys. You need to have those people who can make you laugh and question the society at the same time.
Well, I think honestly, comics, in some cases, no offense, but comics sometimes are more useful than activists. because they make you joke about it. They make you laugh about it, and then you think, oh, maybe I should actually do something about it. Because sometimes you can
Yeah.
be defensive with activists, and you can be like, oh, come on, you can shut yourself off. But
True.
comedians are somebody you don't shut yourself off. You have an open heart, and when they make you laugh, you're like, oh wow, maybe we need a change over there.
But the reality is that because of any art form, like because of activism, an art form gets benefited, right? But because of any art form, an activism won't be get benefited. You can't get freedom because of an art form. You really need activism. So, like for example, if I'm doing political jokes or socio-political jokes
Correct.
on every set of mine, that won't get me anywhere except me selling tickets and getting recognition. That's all. Nothing will change. The country will run in the same way. So that's there. And the reason why, like you said, that comedians are much better than activism because we make you laugh.
Yeah.
You enjoy the idea of activism, but you enjoy the idea of humor more than activism.
That's deep. That's deep. Would you say in your comedy you're kind of an activist within? Because I know a lot of comedians go into the social and political realm, and some of them really have this activist mindset, which is great, to help society better. Would you say that is your style of comedy, and which one do you prefer for yourself, and why?
I'm still discovering. Honestly, if I tell you, I'm still discovering. Like as of now, yes, I have written few jokes on religion, on questioning the politics. But my kind of humor, which I like more, is uh, uh, is more like questioning the masses. Like for example, I'm writing a set on. Recently, I'm writing a set on people talk about their opinions. Like you are sitting with 4 other friends, and you all 5 are talking about your opinions, but none of you have facts about it.
Yeah.
All right, and all of that discussion will be started by an article shared by Spook. Right. So how do people react to it? People don't have facts. People are just sharing it. That's all they're doing. So this is how I like. So I like this kind of humor more than questioning a particular individual director. I like to question masses. I don't like to question micro. That's not the thing, because in micro people get more offended. Like if, for example, I crack a joke for you, there is 50% chance that you will get offended. Okay. But let's say, for example, there are 10 other friends of yours, and I crack a joke on each one of you. Then none of you will get offended. So that's the difference.
That's pretty cool. Is there a fear you have when being a comedian? Because honestly, you're really in the limelight, and do you have the fear of offending somebody and somebody will come after you, or the media? I don't know. What kind of goes through your mind when you're doing bold jokes?
I'm not at that scale as compared to the famous comedian though, and but still, I'll answer this honestly. With me, there is 70 to 30% of ratio. So 30% there is a fear, and 70% there is no fear. And the reason why I have kept 30% as a fear, it helps me to craft my jokes better. Now, if I use this premise that I have a joke on the Prime Minister, but nobody will get offended because I have not named those people.
And
so
that's
I'm
here, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm free to go. Yeah. So yeah, that fear, I need that fear. It helps in crafting.
That is awesome. That is awesome. How does the business of comedy work? How does the business of comedy work? Is it a lucrative profession, or is it?
It's a lucrative profession for just 1% at the top notch. Rest of them struggle for more. But look, I'm not a good guy with a business acumen perspective. Okay? I don't know how to sell myself, I'll be honest. But I can tell you how it works, right? From the artistic perspective and the business perspective. So from the artistic perspective, if you want to become a comedian, register for an open mic, do open mics, because if you do open mics, as I said, when I started, 5 minutes set, go on stage. This is the thing. And then eventually you upload your video. So in India, it happens that you have a set, you upload that set on YouTube. If you get viral, you can sell tickets and you can get corporate shows and private shows and everything. So financially, you're fine. And then artistically,
you're financially fine because you've been viral.
No, I am not. No, it's not. But yeah, so this is how the business happens from the artistic perspective, and then eventually you get a lot of other opportunities to do, like writing and performing outside the country.
Stand-up comedy has to do with one, the creative part of it behind the stage, and then one is in front of the stage, the skills to talk to people and interact with people.
Yeah.
So how does your brain function when you're creating? And then how does your brain function when you're presenting? Because I think those two need kind of different skill sets and different mindsets.
So with me, what happens is that most of the creation is done on stage. Like with me, what happens is that I have a thought. I write that thought and then I go on stage. I switch on my audio recorder in the phone. And then I talk about that thought, and then that's how I create my material. And the reason why it happens is because I'm a very lazy writer. Like if you remember in our school, we used to have 15 marks questions, like in CBSE board, right? I was so lazy that I used to leave that question. I was like, no, I'm not writing 10 pages of answer, dude. Like that's not happening. So I just used to leave those questions. So that is the thing. I am a very lazy writer. But yes, there are different comedians. They write jokes and then they perform. So they have a different process. I have the process that I have a thought. I go on stage and then I do those thoughts. And then I improve eventually with that thought. And then there is another process that if you write a joke or if you write a set, you take it on stage, it eventually improves as much as you get comfortable with that thought or with that set. So it just improves automatically. You'll get more punchlines, you'll get more thoughts on that thought, and then you'll find more tags on that thought, you'll find more premises on that thought. So this is what happens.
So, and what exactly is a set? A set is a collection of jokes, but how does that work?
A set can be one joke of 30 seconds or 1 minute, or it can go up to 20 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's basically a joke done on a particular topic. That's what set is.
Okay.
So I can talk about anything for any time, and that's going to be my set.
So it's one topic that you go into and then end the loop. When you end the loop, the set is done.
Exactly. Then I change it. Then the different topic comes. So yeah.
A few questions I have, since I'm really into communication and that's something that I enjoy.
Sure.
And as a comedian, you have to have that. One thing is, how do you work on transitions? Because jokes can be very non-related, right? Sometimes you might have one thought and then you might have a totally different thought. You might have a joke on the Prime Minister and then you might have a joke on plumbing. How do you link that? How do you link that? Because that, I think, is very important for a comedian.
I'll link Prime Minister and plumbing in such a way, or I'll say that our Prime Minister is not doing plumbing. That's just kidding. That's not the right way. But this happens, like as you said, communication is the important part here. This happens that how the audience is indulged with you, how good the audience is indulged. So what I do is, if I'm performing a show, I would prefer to be the part of the audience. So let's say if my one set is finished and if I want to go to another set, either I'll have a segue. A segue is a bridge from one set to the second set. All right. But if I don't have a segue, what I'll do is I'll communicate to the audience. let's say I'll ask, "Are you guys having fun?" Then they'll say, "Yeah." Or I'll be just communicating to one guy in the audience for a minute, and then I'll change. So if the audience is with you, if the audience is enjoying it, they don't give a fuck about the segue.
Right.
All right. So they don't. They all they care is you. It is basically that kind of a situation. Uh, you've seen those train tracks, right? They run parallel.
Correct.
Yeah. So those train tracks, they don't give a fuck about each other as much as they're running parallel. That's all. So
Correct.
that's what happens. If you are having fun, audience is having fun. That's all you need.
That is awesome. Another public speaking related question. What are some
Hmm.
things that you would say that there were mistakes that you were making in the past? Some public speaking mistakes, some audience interaction mistakes that you have now learned and understood after so much of experience of being constantly on stage. What are some big blunders that people make, and how can we avoid them?
Okay, so I don't know about other people, but this is what I used to do. When I started, I used to play a lot with the mic stand. You know, so my personality used to be hidden behind the mic stand. People, if let's say if I'm playing with the mic stand, people are more focusing on mic stand rather than me. So to make them focus on me, I need to be so confident that they are listening to me. So this playing with mic stand shows that I'm not confident on stage. And then there was another thing that when I started, I I used to look down, or I will never have an eye to eye contact with the audience. But now it's as much as I've done the stage time, the confidence comes up, and these things go away. So this is what happened. Now it's much better. And other thing, if I talk about public speaking, or let's say stand up itself, your content, you should be confident about your content. No matter you have written a joke on our prime minister or plumbing, but you need to be confident about that joke, that it's going to work. No matter it won't work, that's a different story. But till the time you're finished with that joke, you should be confident that this joke is going to work. So because stand up is about talking and writing jokes. So if you're not confident about one of the part of your job, then how you'll be confident about the other part.
Hmm.
So that's what you need. So previously it used to happen that neither I was confident while writing a joke, nor I was confident while performing. And then eventually it started that I was confident on stage, but not while writing a joke. And now it is like slowly and gradually they are matching it.
Wow,
It's coming on the same level.
that is awesome. That is awesome. I want to learn a little bit about your parents. You know, Indian parents are really concerned about their child career. So, how do your parents react, and how did they react when you decided you want to be a full-time comedian? And
Okay.
were there like relatives and Sharmajis outside who were saying, "Oh, what is your son doing?" Were they worried about it? How was that process? That conversation with your parents? I'm sure you must have had.
No. The conversation was not there at all. Like I was always interested in stage, and my mom was into singing, but obviously not like professionally. But yeah, she used to sing. But then, so I think my artistic perspective comes from her. So, but what happened was when I started stand up in 2012. Obviously, I was working, so there was no issue. As with Indian parents, the problem is that if you are working, if you're earning monthly a fixed amount of income, they are fine with it, no matter what you do. All right. Like there'll be a point if you're earning money a lot and you're drinking, they're going to be fine with it too. That's the whole point. But what happened with me is that I was frustrated with the job because I was never a corporate guy. I can't work in a corporate situation because I have I always had the ability of questioning things or taking out different ways to complete the job. But then in corporates mostly they don't accept these ways. They have a policy, they have a procedure. So for 4 years, it went well as a hobby. All right. And in 2016, when I left my job, I never told this thing at my home. So for a year, I lied to them.
For a whole year, they thought you had a job and you lied to
Yeah,
them.
yeah. I was working. They thought I'm working, and that's what.
Wow.
And so yeah, after a year, finally told them. They got angry. They are still angry though, but they still say that you should have a job. But then I want to do this, so it is as simple as that. I'm being selfish or whatever it is, but this is what it is. Sometimes you have to take these decisions. Like you can't let other people run your life. I mean, I know their parents, they think good of you, but there is more to it. There is more to life. There is more to explore. And if you feel like exploring, there is a difference. There are people who are passionate about their job. I have few friends, they work for 12, 14 hours and they don't get tired, right? But I was never that guy. Why I am wasting my 9 hours, 10 hours in a company where I just don't look at my future? That's the whole point. Like I remember when in my last company, which I left in 2016. So I used to sit in my cubicle, and when I used to look at my manager, and I used to ask myself that will I be able to reach that position? And every time the answer used to come, no. Let's not waste it. Let's just
Love
do
it.
this thing full time. So,
More power to you, brother. More power to you for
yeah.
out of your heart. I love that. I love that. I love that. And also, it does seem like the kind of realness that you have, your personality. I can totally see how you're not fit for corporate jobs. You're too real for a corporate job, I think.
Yeah, I used to be upfront, man. Whenever, like, I used to have arguments with my boss because I was really upfront. I was like, if there is something which can be done easily, why you need to have a meeting for half an hour or an hour to have a procedure for that? You don't need that. Like, you can do it without a procedure. Why you need a meeting? So there have been times when I'm sitting in a meeting and I have just said that we are just wasting time, and they'll be like, "Oh shit, what are you saying?" Blah blah and all. And I'm like, no. So yeah, that was there.
Okay. Here's my next question to you, Shamit bro.
Yeah.
Um, you go to a gathering, a social gathering, hopefully in a non-corona
Mm.
time, and somebody tells you, and I'm sure this happens with you all the time, "Oh, you're a comedian. Please tell me a joke. Joke sunao na."
Yeah. So
As a compliment, how do you react to it, or do you get frustrated every time you hear that?
I have two solutions for that situation. First, I don't go to a social gathering. I am not going to a social gathering. But if I have to,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
if it is required, then if someone asks me that, tell me a joke, I'll say I charge money for it. You pay me 500 rupees, I'll tell you one. So they're like, oh, you're like behaving like a celebrity. And I'm like, dude, just shut up. Okay, I don't want to. The thing is, this is how people are designed. Like, I don't ask a cop if I see a cop on a street. I won't ask him that, bro, can you just tell me where is the police station? I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, shut up. Like, that never happens. You won't ask your mom that, oh, you're a mom, can you cook food for me? You can ask your mom that. But why you ask an artist that, oh, can you paint or can you tell us a joke? That's the biggest problem. And you know why it happens? There is a psychology behind it.
Okay, why?
Whenever they see, like, whenever this society sees an artist in front of them, they get insecure. And just to prove a point, either he's funny or not. Like, for example, if I come across a gathering and there's this guy who gets insecure, and then he'll say, oh, tell us a joke. And I say a joke, and if they don't find it funny, they'll be like, oh, he's not an artist. And then they're fine. But if it is funny, their insecurity gets more hyped up. So that is the main reason why.
Wow, that's deep. That's real deep. I mean, yeah, some of the points that you've been touching in this conversation, they are amazing. It's really like understanding societal psychology in some sense to be a comedian. Uh,
Yeah, it happens. Like if I come across a lot of people who are alpha male and who wants to be center of attraction, and so as of now, I'm not that guy who wants to be a center of attraction until unless it's a show, it's a comedy show.
Correct.
So I stay quiet in most of my friend circle and all. But I've seen a lot of people who try to be center of attraction. Then they know that I'm there, so they have that few percentage of insecurity that this guy is more funnier than me. And I'm like, dude, I'm not doing anything. Okay, so you just go away or get ahead with your fake humor, and I just don't give a fuck about who you are.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. That was awesome. I mean, I'm now, this part will be edited out, but I'm thinking of like what other cool questions, one or two I can hit upon. But this has been awesome so far. Wow, I didn't expect. Oh, one question I have for you is, when you're thinking about doing a joke, what, let's say you're working on a joke behind the scenes, what sort of things that you go through, like characters, plots, how do you build that story? How do you build that joke? What makes it funny?
So let's say if so every joke starts with a thought, right? There is a thought which I find it funny. So what I'll do is I'll observe everything around that thought, and that's how I'll get my jokes. All right, like for example, I'm working on one of another set of mine, and it's about Indian police. So the thought. So what happened was I was on my bike a few months back, like last year, and I was just riding my bike, and this thought came to me. I was looking at a police slogan on the roadside. It just came to my mind, this thought, and this thought was like, I asked the audience that, do you know about Indian police? Are you guys aware about Indian police? And the audience says, yes, we are aware. And then I say that, yeah, that is the problem. Indian police is not aware that they are Indian police. All right. So now I'm building every joke around that thought. So that can be anything. It can be a real incident. Okay. So I have a joke about, you must have heard that in Delhi, there was a fight between Indian police and the lawyers, the Delhi police and lawyers.
Yes, yes, yes.
Right. So building around that as well. And then building around my real incidents with police. And then building around any funny thought around the police, how they behave, how they deal with the general public.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's there. So that's how it comes. It into observe things. Like if I build some jokes on this mouse, so I need to observe everything. Like there is a light, and then there is a barcode, and then there are two buttons, and there is a scroller. So everything basically around that.
Wow, I love.
And I'm not saying everything is going to be a joke.
Yeah.
But yeah, it might give you something
Insight,
which you might convert on a joke.
That is amazing. So you have a thought, and then almost you build a mind map around the thought. What are things, the bubble that stream out of this thought, and then you use that as a collection to then craft something.
Exactly. Same goes to storytelling as well.
Yeah.
Story. If I'm going to tell a story, and if I need to make that story funny, then as you said, characters, then I need to work around the characters. Because with story, what happens is that you need to make that story visual. And if the more visual the story is, the more funny it will. So if I'm working on a character, I need to make that character visual, that he behaves like that and he talks like that. This is the past, and his characterization will be completely visual, basically. And that's how the story will be. So that characterization will come according to my observation. So like, for example, if I'm building up a story where you are a character of mine, but I don't know you. So what I'm going to do is, if I know another character which is funny, I am going to replicate it to you. So that's what I'm doing.
That is awesome. That is awesome. I really loved how you said that you really need to observe. I think comedians are one of the best observers.
Yeah, that's it.
Because I've heard people, and even your jokes when I was hearing them, it's like observing the plain simple things that we just go through. We just go through our daily life.
Yeah.
But you observed it and you brought it forth, and it becomes funny.
True.
You know, so
That's with comedians. It happens in a more. It happens mostly. I'll say, like out of 10 things, comedian will observe 10. But most of the artists are the same way. If there is a full-time painter or a photographer or a poet, they will observe things 8 out of 10 times. But it happens with most of the artists.
I love that. How you relate comedy to this art form and how you're really an artist. Shumit bro, it was so wonderful to have this conversation with you. I really learned a lot and just into some deep insights as well. Before we wrap up, are there any jokes you would like to crack based on the conversation we had, or anything the way I look? Any comments you want to have? Any final things that you want to say?
No. When am I getting paid for this podcast?
Hopefully soon, and hopefully we can pay you in a lot of well wishes from our viewers for making them laugh and giving them.
Sure. Nice talking to you.
Shumit,
nice. Thank you so much for having me.
This was awesome. Thank you so much for coming up and joining us.
Thanks.